Welcome into Sports Idiot Nation. Today is Monday, September 16th. Again, Miles, where is T.I.?
No, I like the very first episode. He showed up late. Is this amateur hour again?
Did you call him?
What? No, but
Hold
do
on.
you hear?
Do you hear?
Dude, do you hear that? You hear that? What the Ti? Dude, what? Where are you at, dude?
Shit, guys. Sorry, guys. I dropped my phone. Oh man, somehow I wound up on Instagram Live. You guys didn't hear anything, right?
No.
Well, kinda. So, and dude, I didn't know your wife's name was Michelle.
Oh, this isn't good.
Well, look, at least we know you're not cursed. None of us have been on the cover of Madden, so you have that going for you. Unlike me, though, drafted both Tua and CMC. We'll get into that and more.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots.
Buckle up, Georgia Bulldog fans. Gonna be one hell of a bumpy year.
This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Sports, comedy, pop culture, and everything in between. By idiots, for idiots. Welcome, sinners. This is Sports Idiot Nation.
Welcome into another episode of your weekly double dosage of sin. We are coming to you every Monday and Thursday. Today is Monday, September 16th. Joined by Miles Behind Enemy Lines and Mr. T.I. I am Adam Marino. Man, a lot to get into. And seen. Hopefully you enjoyed our little Uncle Shannon little bit there. I thought it was fake at first, and he posted like, "Oh, I've been hacked," and then he, like a man, he admitted, "I was doing adult activities."
I mean, bro, he's like, yeah, I've been hacked. That's what they all say. But bro, what, did a ghost hack you and go into your house and turn your Instagram on live and then place it on the table or floor or whatever?
Yeah,
like,
dude.
Bro, come on. Like, that's not hacking. You know, it's impossible to do that.
So I feel like he's become, since the Cat Williams episode, like just a polarizing figure in the way that Joe Rogan is, where the reason I say that is before Uncle Shannon was more the sports community kind of thing. Of course, he is a Hall of Fame, pass catcher of the football, but so we know him through that. But most people, women, whatever, we've done the analytics. No women watches our show, so I can talk smack about women. Women didn't know Shannon Sharp. You know what I'm saying? And now they definitely do. And one lady knows him biblically, at least.
It's Michelle. Michelle knows him. They were making animal noises like Talladega Nights there, It's gonna get weird. Gonna start making animal noises,
I love the fact that Michelle Beadle, formerly of ESPN, had the audacity to go on X and say, "No, it was not me."
Pretty hilarious.
I'm waiting for Michelle Obama to release her video saying it wasn't her.
Every Michelle are lining up right now to be like, "Look, it's not me." Okay,
my ex-wife,
wasn't me.
My ex-wife's name is Michelle, so there's that.
There's a candidate.
There's a Guns N' Roses song named "My Michelle," so hey,
Yeah,
Axl Rose had a Michelle at some point.
That's at many points, I would think. It's a pretty common name. There's probably 37 Michelles.
Yeah.
So, Michelle, my belle. That was wild, just to say the least. But man, shout out to Unc. Do your thing, cuz.
Hey, he owned it, like you said. He owned it.
Yeah, he was a man about it. After being a man in the bedroom, he was a man to the country.
But Sterling was always the more wholesome brother.
Yeah, and the better football player. Even Shannon admitted that.
Yes.
So, not even the best football player in his own house. Crazy. So, yeah, shout out Big Unc, Shannon Sharp. We love when he used to give it to Skip and then just, walked out of the set. That's awesome.
The first thought Skip was the hacker. I did. It was like, it's clearly Skip Bayless.
Fair.
And then I remember he's Skip Bayless, and he's not ever going to be able to hack anything. He couldn't hack on his own show.
A lot to get into. Football heavy episode for sure, as we are in the heaps and the throes of college football now and the NFL. Shout out to Mexico, right, Miles?
Yeah, because they love football, right? No,
Yeah.
but it is the day of independence for the Mexicans, who Mexican get away from the Spanish. And as we learned in a prior episode, Cinco de Mayo is not Mexican Independence Day. It's September 16th.
It's just drinking day. Yeah.
It's
So
my
shout
birthday.
out to our
It's my birthday. Remember that, guys. It's my birthday.
shout out to our poorer neighbor from the South. Everyone has that like neighbor who doesn't do as well as you, and like when things go well, you're like, oh, that's good for them. So
Way to go,
that
Mexico.
like happy birthday, Mexico. Like we'll get you something. Like good job, buddy. Like so way to get your independence. But yeah, so the foosball is always from the devil. And speaking of devil, shout out to hopefully you're just going through our entire catalog, because when we opened the show, we talked a little Bears versus Texans, and I don't know if I recall that a preseason matchup was then going to be on Sunday Night Football so soon. Like I think of the schedule that the Titans had, the 49ers, some of these teams, and who they play. And then that's not all of a sudden in the first freaking month of the season, like, oh, they're going to do it again. And half those guys that played in that game are driving a bus right now or on the practice squad. But here's the real players. So the real players showed up. The Chicago Bears actually kept their offensive line from preseason, though. So this is breaking news. They actually had their offensive line from the preseason where everyone else cut those dudes. The Bears decided to start them because as we speak, he just got sacked again. So 19 sacks on Caleb Williams. I feel like that dude, like there's two ways to look at Caleb Williams, and I'll let you guys take it. The one is the offensive line is so bad that no matter what he does, he gets a pass. And then there's that take that says, dude, I told you Caleb Williams ain't it. Less than 170 yards passing, I think it was, 2 picks, just some throws even at the end of the game that are like, dude, what's the miscommunication? Where are you throwing it to? Like, what are you doing? So which is it? And don't just say, oh, Caleb Williams sucks. Miles, is it truly that he is that bad? Because I know you're not high on him, but can the offensive line take some credit for that as well?
Caleb Williams sucks.
And
so I said it. I said it 2 years ago when he was at USC. He ain't him. He's not. Sure, the offensive line is
they're terrible,
mundane at best,
worse than the Titans last year.
But
that's not possible.
We'll see. It's 2 weeks in.
We'll
see on
we
that.
Watched
but
the game.
Dude, Caleb Williams has had many opportunities to execute both in week 1 and then last night as well against Houston. And he's not worthy of a number 1 overall pick. It's 2 games in. That's fine. But you should be seeing those glimpses. You saw a couple in the preseason. But come on, man. 2 games, and still Will Levis has more touchdown passes for the Chicago Bears than Caleb Williams does.
T.I., what do you think?
True. I mean, I kind of align with Miles there. I wasn't a big fan of him. I watched a lot of YouTube videos when I thought there was a possibility he may wind up with the Titans. I didn't know that. I didn't know that Ram was going to trade up and get Will in the second. And I thought, hey, we might be in a running for this kid, and I was just not impressed. I saw some games where, he plays well, and no offense, Adam, to you. I know you're a UCLA guy, but I grew up watching SEC football, and I just don't think Caleb Williams would have cut it at maybe Vandy, maybe Kentucky, maybe some other schools that, still get to fight, but maybe aren't getting the 4-star recruits and stuff. But I don't know. I'm not really sold on him. I mean, 94 yards last week, it counted for a 2-point conversion. That's it. And I think tonight he's got 2 picks, no touchdowns. I mean, hell, guy I'm playing in fantasy football has him, and I think he has a negative 2.3 points from him. So, I mean, not that, that really matters to Hill Beans and Caleb Williams' world, but in our fantasy football world, it's very important. I mean, you want people to believe in you and draft you, and so far it's buyer's remorse on people that drafted Caleb Williams. So the Bears' offensive line, yeah, they're shit, but I mean, good quarterback can overcome that at least to some degree. And we saw flashes of him in the preseason, but like you said, man, he's throwing to future Applebee's dishwashers and bag boys at Publix, and it is what it is. I mean, I guess the grocery store reference is bad because Kurt Warner did flip that and make a Hall of Fame career from it.
There
but,
you go.
Hell of a call.
Yeah, but no love lost there, Kurt Warner, since you stole our damn Super Bowl. But hey, that's for another episode. But yeah, not a huge fan of Caleb Williams. I think he'll have a long career, productive career. But I mean, people are like instantly, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl. Oh, this is the second coming of the resurgence of Chicago sports because it's the whole Michael Jordan effect and all that. And it's like, no, let's pump the brakes a little bit, because I mean, it'd be interesting to see at the end of the year because hell, Malik Willis went in today and got the win, for the Packers. I mean, Jordan Love's going to be back at some point. I mean, Bears are going to be looking up at the Packers again, so I'm just not sold on the kid. Just not sold on the kid, I mean, I wish him well. I hope all athletes succeed, but I just don't think he's that franchise guy that everybody thinks. And if you haven't seen Bill Belichick going in on him and talking about his preseason and everything and talking about him, it's pretty good. Bill Belichick's like, look, no, I'm not impressed. Somebody said, well, he completed something of something, Bill Belichick cuts him off. It's like, yeah, it's just 50%. It's 50% passes. I mean, it's Bill Belichick is roasting these cats, and he that guy knows the thing about good quarterbacks.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. So, I'm the jury's still out on Caleb Williams. 2 games in, I'm not impressed. I mean, Bo Nix is looking better already, and he's looking like shit. So,
So here are the numbers. Caleb Williams, 37 of 66 for 270 yards, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, 9 sacks, 10 carries for 59 yards. Passer rating of 53%. He had a rating of 51 and a rating of 55. So numbers do not look good. They are 1-1 thanks to playing a really bad team week 1. Not much else to say, right? I mean, the numbers are the numbers, dude. Like, it is what it is. We'll see how the Bears do going forward. When you look at their schedule, they play another not so good team that we can bring up. The Colts, they got beat by the Packers that we're just talking about. So the Bears go into Indianapolis next week. You talk about the toilet bowl, because today's toilet bowl was Carolina again managed to score 3 points, I think it was.
3
Dude,
yesterday.
Bryce Young.
Oh, dude, man, it's
dude.
bad. There is just some bad football, some boring football.
Wayne. Sorry about Wayne if you're watching.
Dude. Sorry, not sorry, bro. We told you.
He knows.
He knows.
The pitching knows. The pitching always knows.
26-3. So Harbaugh is 2-0, while Harbaugh is 0-2. So that's never happened. The Ravens are 0-2, and the Chargers. Go Chargers, go! If you know, you know. Arnold Schwarzenegger. They are 2-0.
It's not a Huma.
We're going to get back into NFL, but let's zoom over to college real quick because I'm hoping that we can get this over with and Miles can change his shirt because he did it on purpose and he wore his IU and we were texting back and forth the whole time. Just UCLA is bad. They beat Hawaii by 3 freaking points and IU dropped 77 on a school for the blind, but it doesn't matter. They never dropped 77 points. So I knew it was not going to be good. And Miles is still upset, though. Tell him why.
Yeah, so the game he's alluding to, IU, for the second time in school history, played in the Rose Bowl. But the other time was the time they played in the Rose Bowl. It took a regular season game on Saturday to beat UCLA, first ever win in the Rose Bowl, but not the Rose Bowl. And we kicked your ass, but IU actually has a good football team this year, which is unbelievable to say. And UCLA is really that bad. We found out how bad they were. But I wasn't talking smack to Adam because I know my place. No, there's no worse team historically in the FBS than IU. So I get it. Been there far too often. So that wasn't my, conversations with him was like, oh man, we're taking it to you, whatever. No, that wasn't it. What I was frustrated about was not necessarily the officiating on the field, but in the booth, and the rules of the game of football are just turning this into patty cake and powder puff and hell, flag football even, where nowadays, if you just sack the quarterback, you put your face mask in their chest and you take them all the way to the ground, it's a roughing the passer. And it's absolutely absurd. And I think it's indicative of where our society's going. And I think it's borderline treasonous. And we know the punishment for treason's the death penalty. So I think we have to start discussing it.
You can start with Michigan. We could give them the death penalty, right? Because don't they deserve it from last season?
Well, that's a different type of death penalty. I'm actually talking about executing people.
Yeah. Well, we don't need to execute the refs because then we're going to be stuck with replacement refs again.
No. I'm not saying the refs on the field they were fine. I'm saying those in Indianapolis working at the NCAA, the rules committee. Again, we're not just going to go ahead and take them out back and take them out. I'm saying they need to be judged by a jury of their peers. They need to be adequately charged and then
squid game them.
Accordingly.
Squid game them. Squid game their asses.
That'd be entertaining.
This fall, only on Netflix. We're breaking news. Love it.
But in reality, we saw it yesterday in the Titans game. There was a hit on Will Levis that he barely got touched. The guy didn't even take him to the ground. Will Levis sold it pretty well, but he had no business getting anything out of the play. Got a decent lick. Wasn't to the head or anything. Wasn't helmet-to-helmet contact. It was, contact to the neck or head area with a guy's hands. Just shoved him pretty well. 15-yard penalty. Of course, as a Titans fan, I'm happy about it, but as a football fan, it's disgusting to see. I think it's absolutely cowardly. And it's not on the officials. The officials are following the rules. They're on the books. It's those creating these rules, those individuals making these rules that are ruining the sport of football.
Susan up in the front office. Damn Susan.
I think this episode may go viral because it is caught on tape that Will Levis did something well. And so that jargon, like the AI coordinators of like getting the verbiage together, the algorithm has not seen that, and it's going to like shoot through the roof. T.I., what is wrong with Will Levis? And let's talk a little AFC South.
Well, I mean, let's be real. I'm not going to put it all on Will Levis. I mean, he made a bonehead play, right? Bonehead play. Like he knows better. But... Yeah, whatever.
Does he? If it's happening,
Callahan looks. What the fuck are you doing? Like, look at him. Right? The thing is
he was a meme.
He takes the sack there. We kick the field goal. We still lose by 4. And last week, of course, he granny chucks the thing. He still hasn't started 17 games. Bro's still a rookie. Like, I'm not making excuses for him, but we gave up a block punt in the Bears game that was returned for a touchdown. We gave a block punt up to the Jets that gave him the ball on the 25-yard line that resulted in a touchdown. It's like, you take those 2 games away. I mean, take those 2 plays away. Titans are 2-0. So he's a rookie. He's going to make dumb plays. Does he have a leash to where he can do that again? I don't think so, because there's a reason why we have Mason Rudolph. It wasn't because he was the best available backup, which he is a quality backup. We've seen him as a starter. He's done some good stuff.
Right.
It's because Brian Callahan has seen that guy first and foremost multiple times and knows what kind of quarterback he is, knows, hey, I can win with this guy. So Levis has a short leash, but he's still, I mean, God, what is this? Was that his 13th start? I don't know. He hasn't even started 17 games. That might not even be 13. I mean, what did he get last year? 9?
It was only about the Atlanta game was about mid-season.
Yeah, so I mean, 11. Is he at 11 starts? I mean, that's the thing. Like
ballpark.
Yeah, bro is still wet behind the ears. Does he have a lot to learn? Absolutely. Does he need to stop playing hero ball? Absolutely. Am I going to pin the both losses on him because he made a bonehead play? No, because there you take away, like,
you weren't winning anyway.
I mean, when have you seen back-to-back block punts from the Niners? When have you seen back-to-back block punts in games from? I mean, you just don't see it. And now we've had it happen twice,
we got our punt blocked.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying in general. It's
I know, but it's so
when
funny
it happens,
that you say that.
But when it happens, every single time, what is it? It's an absolute game changer. It always is,
dude.
And that's what I'm saying. If I'm not saying that we come out on top with both of those without the block punt, but it's the probability is in our favor for sure. So I'm not going to sit here and throw Will Levis under the bus like most Titan fans, because until you are not wearing the jersey anymore, as long as your name wasn't Marcus Mariota, I got your back. You know, I took so much flack from Mariota, but I went on record before the draft. I said, no, this guy's not an NFL quarterback. No, he's a product of Chip Kelly's system, one read and run system, and we can't have that, you know. So yeah, I will always have his back. You know, if Mason Rudolph is the starter in Week 6 and Will Levis is learning, then so be it. But I'm not going to sit here and bash the kid because, one, he's doing better than, you know, Bryce Young. He's doing better than Anthony Richardson. I mean, that's the 4 quarterbacks that we have to compare him to: Stroud, Richardson, Bryce Young, and him, right? And so far, he's the second of the bunch. So it is what it is, man. You know, now if we're sitting at 0-6, you know, I might sing a different tune, but you know, I'm still going to support the dude. I mean, he gives us a chance to win as long as he's not doing hero plays. I mean, you know, I said a couple weeks ago, it was the second coming of Brett Favre. Brett Favre, you know, lead the league in interception to win the MVP in the same year. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is. Like, that's the style of play he is. He's a gunslinger. That's fine. But he has to know when to take the sack and know when to throw it away. And until he learns that, it's going to be tough sledding for us. That's the way I look at it. He's got to learn that. Has to.
So, one thing that the AFC South has to learn in the first 2 weeks
is how to win.
They are all already at a 2-game disadvantage. Every single team are looking up at the Houston Texans. Like, that is not good.
And Houston doesn't even look good. I mean, they beat Indy by 3, and they almost lost to the Bears tonight. I mean, you know, last night, whatever.
The AFC South is going to be a wild ride. I knew, not hating on Titans or your division, but the NFC South and the AFC South, I just thought was going to be kind of the lesser of the teams in the NFL. And you look at it, and that's how it's going. I got a question for you guys moving forward. So I'm going to read you a list, okay? The following teams that I'm going to read have not lost a game yet, okay? Now, I love doing these. It's too early to say, but just to have fun with it, right? So we give our rankings on college football before college football, like who's the top 5. Like, oh, it's too early to say. Indeed it is, but we're doing it because it's fun. So these are the teams in no particular order that are undefeated, and you guys pick which team is legitimate in the footage that we have on them now of like, okay, they could go 7-0. Right? Or they can be a playoff team for sure, where maybe you wouldn't have said that before. All right, here we go. These teams have not lost an NFL game. Buffalo Bills, New Orleans Saints, LA Chargers, Minnesota Vikings, Pittsburgh Steelers, Seattle Seahawks, Houston Texans, Philadelphia Eagles. They do play tonight. Kansas City Chiefs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and there you have it. Those are the teams who have not lost a game yet. Any team, Miles, stand out to you?
Yes, the New Orleans Saints.
That's what I was going to say.
Shocked the hell out of me with what they're doing. Obviously, a number of those teams on there, you either expect it or they haven't played anyone or they just barely survived, like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, I'm not worried about Pittsburgh Steelers really hanging around. But the New Orleans Saints, I get it, week 1 might have been Kakalaki, but they beat the living tar out
It's like IU scored in 77.
Panthers.
You still got to give them credit.
Right. They still
Saw
did what they needed to do. And then yesterday, it was in Dallas, right? They played in Dallas.
Correct.
And then I believe someone airdropped a message to everyone in the stadium saying if Mike McCarthy isn't fired, they're going to beat the hell out of everyone there. Was that what that message said? Something like that?
Yeah, dude. That was wild. I saw that on Twitter, which again, be sure to follow us on all social medias, including Twitter or X, because that is a fun way to look at something that went kind of viral for us, and we have it pinned, and it was regarding Caitlin Clark. But follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all the social medias. Again, hopefully you are watching us right now on YouTube. It's the most fun way to watch, as we have well over 2,000 subscribers. So thank you to all those subscribers. Who else?
Well, let me interrupt real quick, Ti. If
Yeah.
you are watching on YouTube, you can see that the team in Tennessee are no longer the Titans. Ti sitting perfectly behind his mic, so it says the tits. Or just the tits now.
Boy, that's yeah.
Wait a second. You guys aren't. So you guys saw a little bit more on that Instagram live than I thought, huh? Great. No, Adam, back to your question. I would say, I mean, are they for real? I don't think they're for real, but I have been surprised by the Tampa Bay Bucks. Baker Mayfield's playing good. Chris Godwin.
Someone has to win that division. Someone has to. Just like your division.
Chris Godwin, I think, is back-to-back over 100-yard touchdowns games to start the season. Not that he's on my fantasy team or anything, but
we'll get into that.
They did lose their starting running back though. I'm not sure the extent of the injury, but I did see that. So, I don't know who their backup is at the moment. I mean, I don't follow. We may wait to get Wayne on to let us know who the backup is for the Bucks. But yeah, I think the Bucks are surprising. I agree with Miles. Derek Carr is playing great, and he's out here talking trash. Like, who is this guy, right? I mean, like, he's got all of a sudden some confidence. And I know that's a byproduct of what happens when you just leave Oakland. You start to gain confidence no matter where you're at. But still, like, he looks good.
Ouch.
I don't know who else is, like, out there. I mean, of course, we know the Chiefs are going to do their thing. I mean, they're 2-0. We don't know that the Eagles are going to win. We think they will because Kirk Cousins looks hurt. He definitely looks like he's struggling. So we'll see how he looks from week to week. Because, I mean, last week he couldn't even move. I mean, he literally looked like he couldn't even move his back. He looked like a mannequin out there that had like some kind of like G.I. Joe like trigger arm that was just tossing footballs, But so I would say, like, yeah. I mean, in the AFC, Bills, I mean, they got Josh Allen, but they don't look good. They don't look good. And without the Tua injury, do they still win that game? I don't know. That was a weird one. Like, I guess the defense does, but that was just a weird game to me. I feel like once that injury happened, nobody wanted to even finish that game. So I don't know how good the Bills are yet, to be honest. So
we'll suddenly that win over Arizona in week 1 might be a decent win because of what the Cardinals did to the Rams yesterday. Holy shnikes.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah,
the NFL, man, is just wild, wild, wild. You brought up fantasy and RIP, as I have Raheem Mostert didn't play. Tua is now out of football. Are we right? I mean,
has to be.
We'll probably talk about it next episode. I would think next Monday episode. I feel like news will come out that he is like having a press conference and he's officially the owner of some bar in Hawaii, and he's gonna just be right.
Pulls a Joe Biden and just drops out.
Yeah. So I have
passes
Tua,
it to Skylar Thompson.
And my strategy, I don't know if you guys agree with this strategy. Bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for him. I did not draft a second quarterback. I felt like I could find a decent one as needed when Tua has his bye week. Well, he went bye-bye. So I have to actually look for a quarterback, so that sucks. CMC, we all know, everyone knows his situation. He's on IR. So he's out past the freaking bye week. And then
frozen on my end.
And then I don't know if Raheem Mostert, how long he's going to be gone. So I'm stuck with Chuba Hubbard. So awesome. So my fantasy season is basically done with. Shout out to everyone who drafted CMC. The Madden curse is alive and well. I don't know.
I was on the phone with you too when I was drafted in my work league, and it was the 16th round, I was like, hey, Adam, this Mason guy for the Niners, is that a decent pick? He dropped over 16 points for me today as my flex. It worked out. That's
Yeah, that
16th
dude.
round value for you, boys and girls.
Yeah, oh man, big time. He's gonna be a stud because he is like beast mode. Had a baby with Rondé Barber, or is it Rondé Barber the Barbarian? He wore number
Tiki
24.
and Rondé.
We had Tiki and Rondé.
And
Yep.
no, not that one. Who was Marion the Barbarian? Marion Barber. Yeah.
Barber.
Ron
The
Barber.
other one.
Yeah.
Marion Barber, the Barbarian. For
Yeah.
Dallas, he wore number 24 and had dread.
Minnesota, the Golden Gopher. Gotcha.
So that's the same. He looks the same. He literally looks the same. His style is the same, and he's a lot like Beast Mode. So if you combine Beast Mode with Marion the Barbarian, hey, you got a pretty good football player. And the Niners struck gold.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
DB, so that wouldn't make much sense.
But yeah, the Niners haven't won since Miles was pooping his pants in Minnesota. That's legit. We just don't win in Minnesota. It is the oddest thing. But I think I watched every play of that game, and we'll be fine. But Fred Warner is an animal. He leaped and got an interception, then prevented a touchdown. The guy was about to score a touchdown, Aaron Jones, who is a man amongst boys himself. Aaron Jones is a solid football player.
He's great.
He's running the ball, barreling into the end zone, and he peanut Tillmans for the second week in a row, mind you. Last week, I was live in Santa Clara for the Monday Night Football game and saw Fred Warner live with mine own eyes that he punched it out. I think he's worked on this over this offseason or something, because that wasn't high on his list of things he did well, was poking the ball out. And he's done it 2 weeks in a row. Absolute game changers. And we still freaking lost by a touchdown. But so now the NFC West, the Seattle Seahawks are the only team that's undefeated. I don't think you guys didn't mention Seattle in that list, so I don't think anyone's high on them either, right?
They've already lost their starting running back. I mean, he'll be back, but I mean, they got old
DK looked good today.
Zach Chardonnay in there,
yesterday.
Charbonnet, whatever,
Champagne.
Yeah, kind
beat Denver and New England.
Yeah.
Hey, but New England is like good. New England may be the story of the NFL. Good Lord. They almost won.
And whoever was watching just turned it off when we said New England was good. They're like, these guys are not credible. I'm out. And for that, I'm out. It's like,
for that reason,
it's like Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank. He's like, and for that, I'm out.
Yeah. I am, definitely joking, but it is crazy that is a thing.
It's football, man. College football, pro football. It's so unpredictable, man. I mean, look at Florida State. Florida State paid Memphis $1.3 million to beat them. Notre Dame paid $1.4 million for to get beat. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, all these teams are chalking up these dubs, and then they're turning around and getting lost and having to pay the fines.
So I'm gonna go through for college real quick and go over the top 25 and see how they did as far as the upset, the upsets. So on Friday the 13th, which again, follow us on social media, because sometimes the world just hits perfectly where Friday the 13th happens, and you gotta follow Sports Idiot Nation for just the posts are gonna be amazing. And so shout out to T.I. who takes the lead on some of those funny posts, because Friday the 13th was well played. So follow us on all the social medias. You'll see that, Facebook, Instagram, all that. But on that Friday, you had Kansas State beat Arizona, who was also ranked. So Arizona is ranked as well as Nebraska, we'll get into. So Alabama, they won big. Number 17, Michigan won. Number 13, Oklahoma State looked really good. Now they played Tulsa. LSU, oh, what a game. LSU beat South Carolina. I watched that game live at the local watering hole, if you will. Shout out to the pub at 1802. And that game, man, I thought South Carolina, man, like was really going to pull it off. They had a pick six. It was called back. Like just some crazy stuff. But number 16 LSU does win 36-33. Missouri, number 6 Missouri, they beat Boston College. Oklahoma looked good. Number 15 Oregon. Are they the worst top 10 team right now? They won big. Oregon State. Notre Dame is still scoring on Purdue, so that game is now 75-7. It was 66 was the final, but they're still scoring. And then Ball State has not arrived to the game yet. It's 62-0, and they haven't showed up to the field yet. So number 10 Miami. Ole Miss, we have been keeping an eye on Ole Miss. They won big. Texas, can we talk a little about
on Wheels there? Talking about Wheels there?
Wheels Manning. Now,
I mean, that's a cheat code, right? A Peyton Manning that can run? I mean, a Manning brother or a Manning family member that can run?
And you look at the starter, that injury is not just like, day to day. Like, it could be 4 or 5 weeks. And is this a transfer waiting to happen? Like,
I mean, it's going to be up to Arch here if he takes that job for life here, So he's got the opportunity, right?
In a couple weeks, they host Georgia, and that's going to be the game of the year. And that's really the only game that Texas
Georgia.
Really has a shot to lose.
I'm saying it right now. They'll beat Georgia. They beat Kentucky by 1 point.
That's completely fine.
Yeah, what happened there? I mean, I was watching. Of course,
and oohies.
I was wanting to see him lose. I was at the DraftKings social. The guys from the Titan Sick podcast from New Jersey came down. They had a little event going on, and we went up there to check it out. And the Tennessee game was going wild, and smoke and shit every time they score. I mean, good God, man, I was like, it's 65-0 at halftime. But I kept seeing that Georgia score, and I was like, what the hell is going on in that game? I didn't see it. I just saw highlights. So, I mean, either they're just not as good as we thought, or they just – it's SEC, and, sometimes some people rise to the occasion. I don't know. Miles, did you watch it?
Yeah, so I was only able to catch a little bit of that. And, I mean, really just the entire weekend I thought was – I don't know. It was weird. It just kind of fell off. From that, I mean, we alluded to the LSU South Carolina game. That was a good game, but other than that, man, just like everything just kind of blended and almost kind of just gave me a headache.
Well, you didn't like Kent State 71-0?
Miles is just mad because they didn't get 100.
No, look, I did say if they wanted to, they could have scored 100, but my buddy was texting me before the game, and he's more of a pro guy, so he's like, hey, I'm seeing the spread on the Tennessee-Kent State game is 49.5, should have hit. And I go, Tennessee will win by 70.
So what's funny, here's the funniest stat of Tennessee versus Kent State. The second half, Tennessee scored a whopping 6 points.
Yeah, 65-0 at half.
And I mean, that's by design.
So they were offered to have a running clock for the second half, and the athletic director and head coach said, no thanks, we're going to play the whole game. And I think, so you mentioned that was the crazy stat, 65-0, really the first half, that's your crazy stat. Even crazier stat is the week before Kent State lost to St. Francis, Pennsylvania. Once you see that they lost that game, you're like, oh, this is going to get bad. This is going to get really bad.
St. Francis, Pennsylvania. Is that a high school team? Because it sure sounds like it should be a high school team.
Yeah, and now at least they put on a little bit of a better showing. I mean, they lost 23-17.
Well, you would think Kent State would play Pennsylvania, St. Francis, Pennsylvania, St. Francis a little bit tighter than they play Tennessee.
And they were at home, too. Kent State was at home.
Yeah, so they had the home field advantage. Great. Packed stadium, I'm sure.
Not a good look.
All 12 of their fans were enjoying it.
So Ball State, obviously, too, did not do too well. And Miami, though, wasn't up by that many. It was 31-0. So it was this is funny. They scored for 10 points in the first quarter, 21 points in the second quarter, 10 points in the third quarter. And I'll ask you, T.I., how many points do you think they scored in the fourth quarter?
I'm going to say 21.
Right.
That's also your favorite number in Vegas too, right?
21. Yeah. Man, Vegas did me dirty, I'll admit. I've had some big wins outside of Vegas, and then Vegas cleaned my clock. Like, they all these side bets.
You're not ready for the big times, kid.
Dude, I'll be honest, like, I will next time, but like, you see these side bets that are not offered in a lot of other casinos, and you start like, and that's how they get you, these sucker bets and all this, but like,
and then you come home with chlamydia. Great job.
Yeah.
Sometimes later. What happens in Vegas comes home with you. It doesn't just stay there.
Right. So, yeah, college, I mean, overall, there hasn't been any crazy, like, I can't believe that upset. I was ready for Kentucky to do it. I was ready.
I thought it was going to happen. It just didn't. My team handled their business against the powerhouse of New Mexico. So
this Friday, we have an interesting matchup. I want to go through and get it real quick from you guys to see if let's call some upsets. So, interesting enough, I talked about Nebraska being ranked. Number 22 Nebraska at home against your number 24 Illinois. What is happening that Nebraska and Illinois are like good at football? Like, so that's
right,
Friday.
Right there. You're only half right. Nebraska is a good football team. Illinois is not. Illinois is only ranked because they beat Kansas by 6 at home. Kansas was overrated. They got taken care of at home by UCLA. Excuse me, not UCLA. UCLA is not beating anyone. I meant UNLV. That UNLV took care of Kansas, and Illinois barely beat Kansas at home. That's the only reason they're ranked. Nebraska's going to win that game by 17 plus.
Okay. UCLA plays at LSU. That's a big L. They're 23-point dogs.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean, hit LSU on that one.
Is the Riola kid, and his last name Dylan Riola, the Nebraska QB? I mean, is he the real deal? Is he? I mean, I see him trying to mimic.
You mean Patrick Mahomes?
That's what I was gonna say. He's like, no, man, this has been my look my whole life. I'm like, bro, you look just like him.
Mahomes.
That's wild, dude.
I mean, is he?
No, he's good. He's legit.
Good? I mean, he looks like a good QB. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so yeah, it may be a time for us to kind of like start to. I'm not saying believe in Nebraska, but you know, give him a shot. Give him a spot at the table.
I'm telling you, man. Shockingly, for IU's homecoming, Nebraska at IU, both teams should be 6-0. Shockingly, Nebraska at IU should be a game to watch with both of them in the top 25. As long as IU doesn't do one of these and chokes as they do in the past, but I think this IU team's different. Nebraska is good. Nebraska has a legit quarterback. Matt Rule can coach, man. He's a good college football coach. Nebraska's going to be just fine under him.
That's fair. We'll
see
if they win by 17.
Where was he? Was he at Baylor for a while, or where was he at before he went to the Panthers? Yeah, and he went. I mean, you could combine all the DNA from like, you know, Bill Walsh and Nick Saban and Bill Belichick, and they just still fail at Carolina. So you know,
and Baylor was in proverbial purgatory for NCAA for their violations with Art Briles before, so he was taking over a 1-11 program. It wasn't just Baylor; it was a 1-11 Baylor, and he made them a Big 12 champion.
That's right. I remember that for sure. Yeah, because they had some extracurricular activities that was being frowned upon at the university.
So
the university did nothing.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
The other intriguing matchups are number 11 USC at number 18 Michigan, number 12 Utah at number 14 Oklahoma State. You have number 6 Tennessee at number 15 Oklahoma. Those games right there. Everything else is like Miami 17-point favorites because they play South Florida, or Texas is playing Louisiana Monroe for the blind.
South Florida, though, they got Malzahn. They gave Alabama some fits. I know Malzahn knows Alabama for three quarters. But hey, that was more than anybody thought. It was surprising. Right. But yeah, I mean, you never know. I mean,
a lot of people thought South Florida was a dark horse to get that last playoff spot as the group of whatever 6 now. They won't get it, but South Florida's not a bad team. Miami should take care of business. For the games you mentioned, though, Adam, I think USC is legit. I think they're for real. Michigan is not. That game's at Michigan, though, right?
Yeah, but USC is favored by 5.5.
I think USC will win by that. I think they'll win by a touchdown.
I think they cover. USC covers.
Oklahoma State, Ollie Gordon. who never had chlamydia, at least as far as we know, I think will have a very, very tight game with Utah, and that game's very important to decide one of the top 4 seeds. There's other in contending in the Big 12, but that game's going to be important and is going to have a factor in ultimately determining that top 4 seed. And then the last one, what was the last one you mentioned of the big time matchups?
Let's see. In the
Michigan?
No,
Well,
you
Michigan.
already said that.
besides that one was no. Well, Tennessee and Oklahoma was the other
Tennessee,
one.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
No, that was the other
Because
one.
Illinois, Nebraska.
Yeah, but the Oklahoma-Tennessee game, the fact that it's in Norman should make that a good game. If that was in Rocky Top, then Tennessee would take care of
But get
business,
this,
but should be a
Tennessee is favored by more than a touchdown, boys.
Yeah, they're putting up numbers, man. Putting up crazy numbers.
I mean, they are.
Yeah. good game. They're better than one touchdown. Better, I guess. They should win by more than one touchdown. But again, crazy things happen on Saturdays, and the game's in Norman, so anything can happen. It being a road game for UT.
It gets real for Oklahoma because they opened with Temple and they won 51-3. Then they played Houston and won 16-12. And then just this last week, they played Tulane and won 34-19. Well, now it gets real because now they have Tennessee, then Auburn, then Texas, then South Carolina, then Ole Miss, and then later Alabama and LSU. Holy cow.
Welcome to the SEC.
To the Sooners.
Welcome to the SEC.
The Sooners might have 8 freaking losses. That's just crazy. But yeah, they are dogs at home. And if you're a booster for the Sooners, like that doesn't probably feel good. Like you're not supposed to be more than a touchdown dogs at home. Like and you're going to beat
anyone.
They'll beat Auburn. They will beat Auburn. Trust me.
Oh, big freaking
until
deal.
until Peyton Thorne is out of there. Us 3, I could go pick up a couple guys selling the contributor and put a team together, and we could probably beat Auburn. So,
yeah. So, a few good games, but there'll be some laughers. Brock Purdy's Iowa State. They play Arkansas State. Okay, they'll win by 4 touchdowns. Ohio State plays We Are Marshall. They'll watch that movie and destroy them by 50 points, right?
I swear. Unless
they pull a Notre Dame. Notre Dame lost to Marshall at home.
So, Ohio State will lose. They will lose when it really matters. That's what Ohio State does. When it really matters and everything's on the line,
they'll miss a field goal.
They will lose. Yeah.
Wide left, you idiot.
So, before we get into the Idiot of the Week, I want to touch on baseball because I'm not sure if really anyone cares, but man, the Yankees have figured it out. They have the most wins in the American League and in the National League, and in the most wins in all of baseball is the Philadelphia Phillies. The
Phillies. The Phillies.
The Fidelities.
They have always been my favorite Major League Baseball team, the Philadelphia Phillies. I'm a huge fan. I have all their memorabilia. I collect the whole set.
I think you guys are missing the real story right now. The Chicago White Sox are on a 2-game winning streak.
Oh,
this can't happen. We need them to break an all-time record. They are, as of this second, it just looks weird to see it printed, you're like, wait, oh, they got it backwards, right? 35 and 115. With a winning percentage.
80 games.
The winning percentage looks like a decent batting average these days. 233. 233 winning percentage.
35.
They are
that is just
44 and a half games out. That is just
wow.
The playoffs.
Here's some more stuff.
God.
Runs scored 458. Runs against 770. I'll do the math for you. I know none of you are math majors. That's negative 312. Negative 312. Dude, that doesn't compute.
How have they won 35 games though?
That's almost more of what I'm getting at. Wait a minute.
It's a miracle.
It's impressive.
A miracle. It's like
not
the
even
Bull
mad.
Durham. It's like in Bull Durham, we're like 8-16. How the heck do we win 8 games? It's a miracle, sir. It's a miracle.
What do you think of your offense's execution? I'm for it.
For it, yeah.
That's another thing to do execution on. Is the NCAA committee?
Did we leave that movie off our sports movie list? Did anybody have that?
No, it got mentioned in the list.
It was
honorable
mention,
25.
or
it was no, it's top 25 on the list.
It was in the list.
On the list. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So, Miles, what episode number is that?
I believe that was episode 9. Was the best sports movies of all time.
Check our Rolodex, if you will. Different videos, podcasts that we've done, and episode 9 definitely was a lot of fun. Again, be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube. On YouTube, what we want you to do is make sure you hit the notification bell so that when new content drops, boom, it's like opening a present. You open your phone, you're like, oh, sin. So we want you to sin with us. Also, the audio versions are always available on Apple and Spotify. Follow on all the social media links because we're quite funny. So speaking of funny, it is that time once again. 4 miles behind enemy lines.
All right, boys and girls, hide your moms, hide your dads, and get the hell off the road because this is Idiot of the Week. And once again, we have a Georgia Bulldog. Daniel Harris pops out of oblivion and picks up the 20th driving infraction or arrest in the last 18 months for the Georgia Bulldogs football program. The guy was driving a mere 106 miles an hour down a state road
Child's play.
In a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Sorry, Jeep, for the bad notoriety, but it's on y'all, I guess. Since Jalen Carter's tragic fatal accident when he was trying to race a fellow teammate just 18 months ago before the 2023 NFL Draft, there have been, 20 plus driving incidents, infractions, or arrests for Georgia football players. Now, you would think after that tragic accident, Georgia would get tight butthole around them driving, and they'd be kind of like this driving Miss Daisy thing where they put the players in the backseat and they hire chauffeurs to actually take them about the country. But no, they continue to let them drive, and as a consequence, they continue to have issues, much like they had this last Saturday in Kentucky.
I was going to say, are we sure that maybe he wasn't driving so fast because he was just late to the Kentucky game? Like maybe that's why. Maybe that's why they didn't show up. Because they needed their star driver there. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's time that they I don't know, have some electives for driver's ed. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's an idea.
It's embarrassing, dude. All of this, and what was the best they could do to try to deter future incidents? They put on a PowerPoint slideshow.
PowerPoints fix everything. Story. That's some Michael Scott shit right there. If you've ever seen it,
freaking PowerPoint. That's your problem right there.
Michael Scott's going to fix racism with a PowerPoint.
I'll tell you what your problem is. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, unbelievable.
PowerPoint. Power. He actually got up and was doing that like he really didn't know what PowerPoint was.
It's such a blemish though on the conference as well, because it's like you have this team that no longer is ranked number 1, but let's be real, over the past few years they have been a powerhouse. We know that. Kirby Smart's got those boys playing, and then here we have this black eye where it's like, well, yeah, the SEC is still going to be SEC. Like a lot of people like to say the SEC is full of thugs and full of people getting arrested and people making dumb decisions, when that's just, a byproduct of young kids, of course. But Georgia is just like, they're losing control of that, obviously. They took the cake at Idiot of the Week over some other people that were some pretty worthy candidates, so.
Yeah, a lot of worthy candidates this week. Yeah.
Georgia took the cake there.
You love to see it.
How do you fix it though? How do you fix it? They have a problem. What do you do, Miles? Miles, what do you do? I mean, just tell these kids, look, your ass wants to be on the field on Saturday, then you better abide by the rules.
No, they need a pizza party. That's what they need. If they have a pizza party,
pizza parties fix everything.
Take care of the business.
Yeah. Friday pizza in the conference room.
You guys can wear a Hawaiian shirt, and we got pizza.
So this bit from Jim Gaffigan, he's like, he talks about cake for 19 minutes and then he heckles himself as he does in Jim Gaffigan way, like, why is this guy just talking about cake? And he said, you know what I love about cake? It brings people together. Hey, it's Bill's birthday today. I hate that guy. There's cake in the conference room. Well, I should say hello. See how he's doing. And then you get in there and you're always like, what is this, cake? I don't know. I've never. Cake.
Just make sure Milton gets a piece, or he's going to burn down the building.
I was told that I would have cake because my stapler wasn't returned, and so they were going to have cake at the party, and I was told because I'm going to blow up the building. How's my Milton?
Hey, in the end, he cashed out though. You know, he's sitting on the island drinking the drink with the umbrella in it. You know, good old Milton.
Good old Milton. I'm pretty proud of my Milton. That was a good Milton. I didn't.
Yeah, shout out to the movie Office Space if nobody knows what we're talking about, because man, it is a damn good movie. It's top 10 comedy for me, and anytime it's on TV, I will watch it. Yeah, I love it. I love it. It is well done. It's Mike Judge. You know, one of his first feature film, I think, if I'm not mistaken. You know,
right? I believe so.
Yeah,
and he's of course from Beavis and Butthead, so.
And King of the Hill and Idiocracy and many other great things.
And the Philadelphia facilities or
what's the San Francisco Tech one? Oh man.
Oh
yeah, hilarious on HBO.
Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley. That's him. That's Mike Judge too. I mean, yeah. he has funny shit, man.
Which is where I was the last week. Silicon Valley, good old San Jose, California, where one Adam Reno was given birth to. So shout out to the South Bay. They were good to me. So, okay, again, remember, new episodes drop every Monday and Thursday. Like and subscribe to Sports Idiot Nation. Thank you, all you sinners. We're going to talk a little bit with Johnny Dell, and we'll get into what he does. He's a content creator that puts X's and O's on the screen. The reason we're having him on later this week is because I host a 49ers podcast with him. So shout out to him. He signed a one-day contract with us to be a fellow sinner. So that happens this Thursday. Again, be sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you then. For Adam Reno and Miles Behind Enemy Lines, Mr. T.I., be sure to follow Titans Idiot Nation to be one of the 30,000 people that follow his page and tighten up with those boys, and we will see you Thursday. Okay, all you sinners, follow Sports Idiot Nation on TikTok, X, and Instagram. Like us on Facebook, and remember, the most fun way to watch us is on YouTube every Monday and Thursday. Be sure to hit the notification bell so you can be updated when new content drops. Remember, the podcast can also be found on the usual suspects of Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Always remember, don't be an idiot.
Sinner.